Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right, family, and I consider you all to be that. Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Man, thank you all. True indeed. Another beautiful day moving forward. Thank you all tremendously. I truly appreciate all your interest and support. Please continue to subscribe, like, share. Make sure that you tell everyone you know. Tell everybody you don't know. Make sure you spread the word. You heard? All right. So listen, folks, I do thank you tremendously. And we move forward now in paradigm shift. And one subject that in my mind is truly paramount in these days in which we start to broach truly higher levels of consciousness, right? So that's DNA activation. Now, what do I mean by DNA activation? We've heard that a lot. First of all, it's kind of a misnomer because it's not like our DNA is inactive, right? Certainly, your DNA is active to a certain level of efficacy, uh, enough to get you to where you're at right now. It's just that those of us who understand um, the level of which our DNA has expressed, right? When I mention the DNA efficacy, I mean how effective has the DNA expressed? Has the DNA fully expressed so that that can be manifested in the full expression of the human being? In other words, are we 100% of what we are intended to be, right? Of what our design actually is, right? Um, and in fact, we're not. We're actually only floating around in approximately the 30th percentile, right? We're right around 30% on average. Um, but folks, think about that really quickly. And I've brought this up before. What else in our lives do we accept at 30% of its operating capacity or what it was intended to be? Nothing. Certainly no device, nothing we go buy. You know, if anything we bought, whether it be a computer, a car for that matter, operated at 30% of what it was intended to and what we expected, we would be outraged. So, where's the outrage for us, right? For the fact that we are not operating at 100% of what we should be. Our DNA is not fully expressed. Now, you might want to look into you. I would suggest you do your own free thinking research. There is a myriad of sources of information on the subject. Just a quick reference, you could check out um, Dr. Joe Dispenza. You check out Greg Braden. Um, there are a number of people who have videos on this, right? Certainly, the information uh, that you will find on those from those individuals is great, um, in terms of opening your eyes to the potential, right, that human beings hold and that we have not realized. Um, Billy Carson, right? Check out his channel. Ton of videos that would give you insight in that direction as well. Uh, but the 19 keys, you know, there's a lot of folks out there who are bringing you high level information, um, geared in the direction of understanding that we are more than what, or should be more than what we currently are, right? Um, so, folks, there have been experiments, right, where DNA has been put into different conditions, uh, how it will react with photons, right? Human DNA actually dictates to photons what their configurement would be, right? Uh, in a controlled environment, and indeed however it would interact naturally or organically, right? Um, our DNA, you could almost look at it as like a flower, right? That has only blossomed 30%, right? Still pretty much like a bud, right? Like a rosebud, or the bud of a flower that not yet quite bloomed. Um, Folks, we need our DNA to bloom. Quite literally, we need our DNA to be 100%, or certainly much closer to 100% efficacy, right? Um, there are experiments that also show how major a player human consciousness is in physics. And along with that, um, there are different ways that impacts your physics as a human being, right? Um, Human consciousness is a dictator, right, to the quantum field, right? Or better yet, a transmitter, right? You are constantly transmitting your intentions, right? Electromagnetic signals that are steered, directed, and originated from within your consciousness. Now, I spoke also about the way we're constantly manifesting is often from our subconscious, right? Um, that again plays into, or is a symptom of, I would say, um, of operating in lower consciousness, which as a species, we've unfortunately gotten prone to that. As we start to operate and exist in higher states of consciousness, our DNA begins to express more fully, right? Um, there are experiments to speak to that as well. Folks, please go do the free thinking research on your own. Um, it's not that difficult to find, right? We live in the information age, and it's called that for a reason, because information is literally at our fingertips, right? A few pushes of a button, a little bit of intention to learn a specific thing or to gain insight on a specific subject, and you're off to the races. You just have to have the willingness to do so. You know, if you have even a passing curiosity about something, don't let that go. Look it up, research it quickly. But yeah, on this particular subject, I would definitely recommend as much free thinking research as you can stand to do. I mean, think about it, folks. Like, how much more important of a subject can you get than your own DNA? Let's pause and think about that a moment, right? There's nothing that gets more personal, and few things that are more important than your own DNA. I think it's worth a little bit of research to gain a better understanding of your DNA, what it is, how it operates, and what we've seen in terms of DNA expression in human beings on the planet, and and what sorts of things we can do again to increase our DNA efficacy. Folks, we have a wonderful opportunity about us now, right? I've spoken before about how some of the indigenous, right, like the Hopi Indians, for example, excuse me if I'm using the incorrect labeling or terminology. I don't mean to offend anyone. Um, but the saying is that this is now both the most difficult and the most beautiful time to be alive on the planet. Now, why is that? Because we have an opportunity for evolution across our species in the form of a higher consciousness that we can take and grow into on this planet now. And along with that, again, comes increased DNA expression or increased DNA efficacy. Um, I've done videos and talked a little bit about the Kundalini awakening process, yet another path of higher consciousness and increased DNA expression, right? It seems to be something that I pause because it's a little comical. It seems to be something that need not even be said, that we should be seeking to be 100% of ourselves or as close to it as we possibly could be. The things that we would gain with increased DNA efficacy, many of us would consider miraculous, right? Um, Certainly none could debate that they would be beneficial, right? So why would we not invest, right? Truly invest of our own personal resources and collectively on the planet, our resources as a species? Why would we not invest in DNA activation? Why would we not invest in increased DNA expression and or efficacy? It only makes sense. It is to our benefit, no matter how you slice it, right? And I would argue that it makes far more sense for us to invest fully our energies into our advancement along the lines of increased DNA efficacy and expression, particularly through the route of higher consciousness, right? It is far more important and makes far more sense to us invest fully in that than it does for us to invest in AI, artificial intelligence, in the current framework in which we have. And what is that? I mean that those who have currently developed, we'll say, this generation of AI have largely done so from the mindset that human beings are themselves limited and flawed. And I would say that that is a very unfortunate and you'll pardon me, immature mindset and a dangerous mindset from which to develop such a powerful technology, right? With the sweeping range of implications that it can have on our lives. Think about that, right? You're developing an artificial intelligence on the auspices that human beings are flawed and limited. Folks, we've seen movies where the AI eventually says, Human beings got to go, right? Human beings are the problem with the planet. And if you look at our behavior on the planet and our behavior towards one another, it wouldn't be difficult for the AI to justify this, right? Think about this for a little bit. Just spin it forward of the potential of where that can go, right? You have Elon Musk delivering us numerous warnings on this subject. And if you don't think I know, then certainly you would think that he would be in the technological know to be able to do so, to give you such warnings, right? Just think about it and look into it a little bit, right? Wouldn't it make much more sense if we're to ever develop AI to do so with respect and honoring of the human being, right? Think about that. Think about that. Where do you really want to go with AI? And if so, what intentions or mindsets should you set out with in doing so? What if we developed AI on the foundation that human beings are currently only around at 30% or so of our DNA expression and efficacy, and that we're moving in the direction of increasing that? Why not develop AI around that sort of a mentality? Perhaps it would even be helpful in that arena, right? And if you even look at some of these quote unquote science fiction, um, TV shows and movies, from time to time, you see more elegant examples of AI that do have respect, utter respect for human life, right? And view human beings um, with adornment and with uh, with a certain respect, right? View all life with respect, um, and not view life forms as obsolete, as is the mentality that is essentially going into this generation of AI. So, I think again that's a direction that we can refine, right? And certainly all of it in terms of our DNA efficacy increasing, how that can impact something like AI, but how it can impact our lives in numerous ways, right? We can do more on this planet. We can do better. Wouldn't we do better with higher consciousness? Wouldn't we be better with higher DNA expression and efficacy? DNA activation. So, not that our DNA is inactive, but more of it needs to be active and fully expressed, right? So that it can be effective at higher and higher percentages, right? It only makes sense, or at least it does to me. What do you think? I love you all. Thank you. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq. Once again, I'm out. Remember, please like, share, subscribe. Really focusing on growing the channel. We hit the goal of 444 and kept on flying past it. We're at 454. We want to keep growing. 44 is the new goal. Let's surge powerfully toward that. Please help me to do so. Like, share, subscribe. Tell some folks you know. Tell all the folks you know. Tell some folks you don't know, right? And turn on all your notifications. I think not enough folks are getting all of my videos as well. So again, thank you. I love you. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq. I am out.